Okay. Oh, look at the baby. Look at the baby, so cute.
Little baby.
Wow.
This is a young one. A baby. That's the noise. Communication with the other family. This way is much better. Baby. Maybe the other one. Other little fruit, the red one.
Oh, okay.
This is perfect time for a picture. All right, take a look, guys. Look at this little structure right here. Just check how big the entrance is. It's a very little entrance and a big pile of rocks. You know, obviously, this structure was not made by Mayans to do any religious activity. Nowadays, it's very common to hear different theories about what was the purpose of these structures. Many people say that this structure was made for meditation. We know that Mayans were like little people, but not a pygmies. They were not dwarfs, you know, they were not little guys. They were like regular size, like me probably. Obviously, they couldn't fit in here. That's very tiny. Look at, very little inside, and the doorway is very little. I'm gonna explain you right now why they make this and what is the period of this building. Mayans are divided in different periods. We have pre-classical, classical, and post-classical. Okay, this structure it was mainly used by them during the classical period. Yeah. Why? Because during the classical period, Mayans used to be worshippers of the jungle, the nature, you know, the trees, the birds and animals were representing very special things to them. In this case, during the mid part of the classical period, from 300 until 600, Mayans venerate one bird that it used to be considered the messenger of the gods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and their cities were mainly covered by trees, by the jungle. Actually, they didn't have a lot of structures made up with rocks because just to make the cement to put the stones together, it was necessary to use ashes from the trees and limestone powder. Yeah,
okay.
that's why. Just imagine how many trees they had to cut off just to get the ashes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why during that period, yeah, they didn't use a lot of cement to make buildings. Every building had to be very important for one activity to be done. Okay, well, but they built up this, and this is like, oh, okay, well, yeah, what's the purpose? It's very tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If they didn't want to make a beautiful big buildings, why they spend time and energies, and especially, you know, they cut many trees just to build something like this? Easy. Because venerating this bird, which is very very important in their history, since this bird acts at night mainly, you know.
Okay.
And this bird had to have the qualities of one strong hunter, you know. Yeah, they choose the owl.
Okay.
The owl. And why the owl? Because the owl flies at night. And Mayans during the classical period, they were worshippers of the darkness, worshippers
Oh, wow.
of the night,
Very
you know.
cool.
Okay.
And they had cenotes as entrance to the underworld, you know, Xibalba. And they
Oh,
had
wow.
one special point on the sky to represent the upper world entrance, and that was the Orion belt. Orion belt. Then the owl, when the owl flies, it makes perfectly alignment in between his clouds and his head, you know,
wow.
making the three bright stars of Orion.
Okay.
Yeah, and when he flies at night, supposedly according to their history and the religion, the owl would be bringing the bliss to the human beings, and
okay.
he would be blessing the earth. That's why Mayans implement a lot of effort, a lot of work to create these structures to don't let the owls go away. The owls could come and sleep here during the day, and somebody would be in charge of come every single morning and put food right in front of it.
Would they actually use it?
Yeah, they actually use
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, they actually use it. That's what we know. It's a very difficult to see these type of structures and well preserved in some other cities, especially cities from the classical period. Because if we jump into the post-classical period cities like Tulum or some other cities from Yucatan state, you won't see this type of structures
Right.
because they had already abandoned their ancient religion, and they just jump into another period in which they even create different gods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this building, it played a big role for Mayans during the classical period, since they had to make sure that the blaze from gods would stay with them forever.
Okay.
This little thing
So
for
cool.
owls.
That is a
for
major
little
story,
bird.
okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much it's an owl hut. It's
an
for
owl
owls.
hut.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But here there was a terrace in front. There were some stairs down there from where a priest or some supporter from the priest family would come early in the morning to make sure that owls had water and food.
Oh, wow.
And the whole section would be surrounded by trees. Yeah, surrounded by trees because the owls need the trees. What happened in that transition from classical into post-classical? All right, they start cutting the jungle off. They start ruining the entire environment during the early post-classical period with different ideas, and the owls live.
Oh, okay.
They fly away, and according to their mentality, as soon as the owl fly away, the bliss from gods disappears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's why Mayans collapse as a culture.
Okay.
That's their idea.
Okay.
Oh, there's two, yeah.
Look at the one hanging above.
They stay there in the top.
she's like.